30 degrees, 60% humidity. I gotta switch to a NATO. Bonjour mes amis, hi guys. I've had the Tudor Black Bay 58 on the wrist for a month now and want to share further impressions that might help you choose whether to buy one or not. And if you have one, maybe I'll comfort you or express some things that you didn't really want to admit, because we really do want to love everything about this great release, but maybe it's fair to curb your enthusiasm a bit. I think the charm of the piece gets released in 2 or 3 phases. When it came out, along with the blockbuster GMT, I immediately thought that this was the one, the real game changer after all the different variations of the ever so thick Black Bay. This watch should probably have been released a year later than it was to get the proper attention and ensure back-to-back Basel wins for Tudor. It's almost like they snuck it under the GMT not to attract the attention to the fact that they had been working on a nicer design for a few years. Perfect proportions, a modern version of vintage favorites. I love looking at this angle where the case, bezel, domed sapphire crystal and big crown marry in perfect harmony. After that love at first sight moment based on pictures, this is the second phase of the charm release that will make you put down the credit card at the AD, no questions asked. However, after a few days of wearing it constantly, I put it in the watch box and realized it didn't look as luxurious as the other steel sports there. Yes, the Rolex cost 2 or 3 times the price, but even the cheaper Speedy Moon watch looks more grown up. And it's all down to the colors, the faded dial, the Fotina and gilt indications, especially the ones on the bezel, stand out as trendy attributes that clash with my conservative collection. And yet, gold and black is perhaps my favorite combo, but nevertheless, it's the first reason why I think some might not get along with the watch. Now, after a couple of weeks, I picked it up again, and the third phase of the charm release occurred, and I enjoyed it day and night for the long May 1st weekend. I embraced the colors and really loved the accuracy. A big part of the attraction is that brand new caliber with 3 days of power reserve. I also appreciate that Tudor has not yet released another version of the watch. To me, it's a lot stronger if it stays the only option. Everyone calls for Tudor to expand the 58 line, which I totally disagree with. We don't need a two-tone with Tudor's cheap capped gold. We don't need a red bezel or a bronze case. All those things turn the original Black Bay line in a bit of a mess. I doubt that adding a complication is technically in the cards either. A true 58 reissue with all white indications would be great, but again, it would hurt the value of this gilded model. Now that I had made peace with the design choices, came the obsessive-compulsive concern about the fit and comfort, especially in comparison with my Rolex Explorer. If you pardon a shoe analogy, it's the same as trying to get used to Red Wing Iron Ranger boots after having worn Puma Speed Cats for the past 20 years. When I put on my Cats, they are immediately right. When I put on my Explorer, I forget I have it on within seconds. And as it gets really hot and humid right now in Hong Kong, I know I can always release the pressure outside or at night by opening the EasyLink. No such luxury here, so I resorted to really wearing the watch very loose, which causes another kind of discomfort when the wrist contracts as you walk around in a freezing shopping mall. Since we're talking about clasps, as much as it is hard to open the latch and deployant, they act as great anti-robbery safety features. Thieves would be really hard-pressed trying to pry this watch off your wrist, which might turn into more fight than you'd care to put on. But there you go, this watch is very secure. Finally, the satin finish of the bracelet just doesn't match at all the brushing on the case like it does on a Rolex. Add to that the fake rivets, and it's another reason why some might not bond with the watch. but you can always put it on a NATO or a strap. So what's the verdict? Well, the watch actually fills a perfect niche in my collection, as I am not at the point of putting the trigger on a vintage Submariner. And I just love the bezel action. Unfortunately, it doesn't line up quite perfectly, which is too bad because it has very little play and is a tactile treat. If this is going to be the best diver you can possibly afford, and you like the vintage appeal mixed with a somewhat daring color mix, and if my other concerns don't matter much to you, then you'll love it. If you don't really need a diver and can afford a Rolex and nothing more, then I would get the Rolex, even just an Oyster Perpetual or Stretch to an Explorer, or used Steel Datejust if you want the convenience of a date. I hope this was useful. At the end of the day, this is Tudor at its best, so let me know in the comments how you're getting on with yours and if you have any other concerns. À bientôt.